Hello, oracles, and happy election day here in the US. So, one of the big questions that a lot of investors have is how is the market going to react to the outcome of the election? Now, we're still well underway in the election process. We still don't know. We might not even know for a couple of weeks who the actual winner is if we end up getting anything like we got back in 2020. So, the real question is going to be well, depending on who is going to end up winning this election, how is the market going to react? And in particular, today, we're going to be talking about how Tesla stock is going to be reacting to this. Now, before we get into all of this, please make sure you hit that like button down below and subscribe to the channel. All right, so based on a broad market standpoint, historically, regardless of who ends up winning the election, the stock market has gone up. Maybe it took a little time, but in the long term, the stock market has always gone up. So this time around, I don't see any reason why we would not see the same thing over the long term. Again, over the long term, historically, we've always seen the market entirely go up and to the right. So this time around, we might see some near term uncertainty. We might see some sectors or some stocks or something that move one way or another based off of what we are going to be seeing for who wins this election. But over the long term, it will end up smoothing out and we will end up going back up. So for me, I always just take advantage of opportunities in the market. Whatever it gives me, I'll take advantage of them. So if we see certain sectors end up selling off based upon who we get as a winner, that could be a good buying opportunity to get into those. So again, you need to do your own due diligence on those. But when we start looking at Tesla, it's kind of an oddity because Tesla, typically being an EV company, is favored by the left. However, Elon has decided to side with the right. And of course, this has brought up all sorts of turmoil and things between Elon and his politics. And I'm not going to get into any of that today. We're not going to really be discussing much about actual politics. It's just going to be about scenarios within the actual stock itself that could end up playing out. Because you do have to disconnect the stock from Elon. Because I know it's not easy, but realistically, disconnect Elon from the company itself of Tesla. I know it's not easy, but you need to do that because the company itself is going to continue to grow. We've seen plenty of CEOs in the past who have sided with one or the other, and the company has still done well. Jeff Bezos with Amazon, Bill Gates with Microsoft. We've seen it happen over history, and it doesn't matter because that company underlying still ends up performing based upon its fundamentals, regardless of whatever party the CEO ended up siding with. So in this scenario here, I actually thought of something the other day and having a conversation in the comments, and that was, well, Elon right now is running a company that is obviously favored by the left, as we just said, but he has sided with the right. Now, we know that a lot of Republicans and people on the right are more about the ICE vehicles, legacy vehicles, and vehicles that require gas and oil. So how is he going to win those people over? Well, now he has sided with Trump. And Trump has said before that he would do away with the EV tax credit. Elon himself has said that Tesla does not need the EV tax credit, it just helps. And it actually helps all of the other legacy automotive makers out there as well, because they're obviously not doing as well as Tesla is. Now, you also have to remember that Elon's mission is actually to change over the entire world to renewable energy. Now, Elon can't change over the entire world with renewable energy if only one party is actually siding with him. And he also said that Tesla cannot do this on their own. So he realistically needs an entire partnership between the entire government and a lot more people involved in kind of pushing this forward to get them to that point of their mission and changing over the entire world to renewable energy. So I'm not saying this is 4D chess. I'm not saying Elon did this intentionally. Just a thought that played through my head of a scenario that could be end up playing out, which is Elon has the people on the left. Now, let's say Trump ends up winning this election. And of course, Elon is on that side. And let's say Trump does end up using Elon for some facet of the government in there. And we've seen some people, because Elon chose this side, that some people on the left are like, oh, we don't want to buy a Tesla just because of that. But don't forget, Elon's mission initially was not to have Tesla get all of the EVs out there, it is to have all of the companies out there. So people on the left are still going to buy EVs. And Elon knows full well that they're not all going to be coming from Tesla. So this means that they're going to be bringing up the demand for EVs from other EV makers that are out there. So that in turn is going to push that mission forward even more. Now, with him siding with Trump, if Trump ends up winning, and maybe even if Trump doesn't win, we could end up seeing some people on the right switching over to EVs. You're not going to get everybody. That's not the entire goal here. I don't think that's ever going to happen. But you're going to get some people who may have been on the fence over there switching over to EVs. So you can get a significantly larger portion of the population switching to EVs. And whether it's Tesla or maybe it is from one of their manufacturers, could be people on the side that like Dodge, Ford, Chevy, whatever it is. Maybe they're starting to say, hey, maybe we'll look at EVs. Maybe it's not a Tesla, but now you have some people on the right switching from gas over to EV. So that's how this could potentially play out. And again, when it comes to Tesla stock itself, maybe they don't recognize anything right away, regardless of who ends up winning this. However, when you start looking long term down the road, we have to look at, overall EV adoption from the entire country and the entire world. So if only half of the population was really looking at EVs prior to this election, now you start to get maybe 75% of the country looking at EVs. Tesla is naturally going to take on some of those that will bring up the demand for that. Obviously, we're not seeing it right now. We still have higher interest rates, but this is kind of planting the seeds for that could end up bringing that forward in the next 3 to 5 years. So just kind of putting that notice out there to people and people start to ask the questions. And that's really all a seed planting is getting people to ask questions. Maybe do a little Google search on this and say, hey, I really wasn't going to buy an EV. I like my ICE vehicle, but you know what? Maybe I'll take a look because Elon has sided with Trump. Maybe I'll take a look at them. That could be something that is playing out. Obviously, I could be entirely wrong on this. This is just a completely wild theory on my side of things. But just looking at the stock itself, sure, maybe it swings one way or the other after we get the results of this election. But you have to remember that the majority of movements in a stock price have to do with fundamentals. The day to day, week to week, month to month movements of a stock price are going to be based upon sentiment. They're going to be based upon anything in the news, little things here and there that are going on like that. But when it comes to the fundamentals, that's where you want to look at the year over year stock price, the 2, 3, 5 year out stock price. How has it trended over that time? Because it's most likely going to end up trending up. And this could help the fundamentals of the company and the fundamentals of the overall EV adoption moving forward. So that really could truly help out all EVs, all renewable energy, and in turn help Tesla over the long term. So even if we start to see some dips, or maybe we get a recession next year, whatever it is, this could be that seed planting that is going to help them move forward just because Elon ended up siding with Trump. Now, again, I don't know if that's the reason why. I doubt it's the reason why. I'm sure there's plenty of other reasons why that Elon has said himself. And whether you agree with his reasons or not, step back, take a look at it strictly from a Tesla investor standpoint and what something like this could do for the company, for the revenues, for renewable energy. If you're a renewable energy lover and you would like to see the entire world change over to renewable energy, take the political stance out of it and just take a look at how this could broaden the horizon from all different viewpoints when it comes to people who really favored ICE vehicles and how it could sway some of them. Sure, maybe it's going to deter some people on the left from purchasing a Tesla, but if they were in there for the renewable energy, will it deter them from renewable energy? No, that would be contradictory on their point. They would just say, well, screw Tesla. I'll go buy Enphase for my solar. I'll go with Chevy or Ford when it comes to my EV. Cool. That was Elon's mission to begin with anyway. So it really doesn't matter. And you guys who are looking to get renewable energy in the entire world, that's going to favor you as well. So despite whether you agree with Elon and his politics or not, when it comes to renewable energy, this could end up helping that. And again, in turn, help Tesla stock itself. So that's just a thought that I had. And again, we still have a long way to go. We might not even see the realization of this until we get past this entire next presidency, which is more than 4 years out from this point. But just take a look at what's getting planted for these seeds and start to see some of these trends moving forward and see if it's actually going to make any changes. Again, this is just a theory of mine, but you guys can go ahead and bookmark this, save this, and we'll come back to it in a couple of years and see if it has made any bit of a difference. So that's all I've got for you guys today. You guys can let me know your thoughts in the comments below, which way you think Tesla stock is going to move after we find out the results of the election. If you think my theory is completely wild and insane, or if you think that maybe this holds some validity and it might actually help move it forward. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate all of your support. Have a great one.